Hi, all my artists. So today I'm going to read a book called Van Gogh, Getting to Know the World's Greatest Artist, written and illustrated by Mike Venezia. Van Gogh, guess what? You finally sold a painting. Maybe I have a future in this after all, says Van Gogh. Getting to know the world's greatest artist. Vincent van Gogh was one of the most tragic artists who ever lived. Nothing ever seemed to go right for him, and he wasn't very happy. He never even smiled in his self-portraits. So this is his self-portrait, and we know that a self-portrait is a painting or an artwork that you do of yourself. Van Gogh was born in Holland in 1853 and died in France in 1890. Unlike most artists, Van Gogh didn't decide to become a painter until he was grown up. He tried lots of other things first. He worked in an art gallery selling paintings. He tried teaching. He worked in a bookstore, and he was a preacher like his dad. None of these things made him very happy. Then one day, he decided to be an artist. So here he is as an art dealer. You call that a good painting? My 5-year-old could do better. This isn't making me happy, says Van Gogh. As a teacher, this isn't making me happy either. Just to let you know, I don't think that, guys. I love teaching you all. As a bookseller, this definitely isn't making me happy, he says, as a customer said, "No, I said that one. Can't you hear me?" And then finally, as a preacher, "I think I'll be an artist. That might make me happy." Van Gogh always tried his best at whatever he did, so he went to different art schools to learn everything he could about drawing and painting. His early drawings were of the poor people he used to help when he was a preacher. There are certain things you can see in these drawings that show up later in his famous paintings, such as the strong lines and shapes. You can see the feelings he had for everyday people. You can see the shapes of the people, even though you can't see lots of details. They're very strong shapes. Van Gogh's first paintings were also of the poor people he had been helping. In this painting, the family was so poor they only had a few potatoes to eat for dinner. They looked tired and not very happy. The colors in Van Gogh's early paintings are dark and sad. He wanted everyone to know how hard the lives of the poor people were. So often artists are affected by the things around them. They often make art based on how they're feeling or what they're seeing, and this is a perfect example of that. It also goes along with Van Gogh's life because he was pretty poor throughout most of his life as an adult. Van Gogh kept using dark colors until he discovered some very colorful Japanese artwork. He loved the bright colors and strong lines and shapes that he saw. Wow, I wonder what that bright stuff is. It's called yellow, blue, red, and orange. Soon, Van Gogh's paintings started to look much more colorful. Look at the difference between the gloomy potato eaters and the painting above, which was done only a few years later. So here's the potato eaters painting. And there's his farmhouse in Provence. It's a totally different style of painting. We know a lot about Van Gogh, about how Van Gogh felt and why he did certain things, because he was always writing letters to his younger brother, Theo. Theo always helped his older brother. He encouraged him to paint and sent him money when he could. "Who's it from, dear?" "It's a letter from Vincent. He says he's sick. Nobody likes him. His room doesn't have any heat. His back is killing him, and I should send him money as soon as possible. Sounds like he's doing much better." Because Vincent van Gogh was always sending and receiving letters, he got to know his postman pretty well. He painted pictures of him and used the postman's wife as a model in many of his paintings as well. Here's the postman. I like the background. In 1886, Vincent moved to Paris, France, to join Theo. Paris was the center of the art world then. Since Theo was in business of buying and selling paintings, and Vincent wanted to be an artist, it seemed like a pretty good place to be. Theo introduced Vincent to a lot of painters while they lived in Paris. Hardly anyone knew it then, but many of those painters would become world-famous artists someday. A couple of years later, Vincent van Gogh decided to leave Paris and move to a small country town called Arles. I may not say that right, I'm sorry. Van Gogh thought Arles would be a great place for artists to get together to paint and talk about their different ideas. He tried very hard to get as many artists as he could to join them. The only one to try it out was Paul Gauguin. Although he wasn't really crazy about the idea, it turned out to be a big mistake. Your cooking is terrible. Your paintings are terrible. I'm a much better artist than you. I wish I never came here. Worst of all, you never pick anything up. This place is a mess. You are such a grouch, says Vincent. Gauguin didn't seem to like anything Van Gogh did in Arles. They argued a lot. Van Gogh probably decided to listen to Gauguin about cleaning the place up because his bedroom looked pretty neat in this painting. This is a very famous painting that Van Gogh did of his room. Finally, after a very bad argument, Gauguin decided to leave Van Gogh and return to Paris. Van Gogh didn't know what to do. He really wanted things to work out well with Gauguin. Van Gogh had always had problems during his life with the way he felt. Sometimes he would get so angry and upset that no one could make him feel better. This time he became so angry and upset he cut off part of his ear. Van Gogh painted pictures of himself after this happened. It looks like he wished he hadn't done it. Vincent van Gogh never really got better after Gauguin left him. Sometimes he was too angry to paint, and sometimes he was too sad to paint. When he felt good, he painted better than ever. He made the stars in the Starry Night seem like they're really shining. So if you've ever seen one of Vincent van Gogh's paintings, it was probably the Starry Night. It's one of the most famous paintings in the world. The trees in this painting look like flames, and it feels like the whole picture is moving. This one's pretty famous too, Cypresses. In this painting, Van Gogh made the sun look really hot. You almost feel like you should put sunglasses on to look at it. It does look like it's burning. Van Gogh usually put his paint on very thick. Sometimes he painted so fast he didn't even mix colors. He used paint right out of the tube. Van Gogh used so much paint he was always running out. Sometimes he stopped buying food in order to buy more paint, so he was hungry a lot of the time and he wasn't healthy. I'd like to order some lemon yellow, pea green, cherry red, and I'll have an orange for dessert. Hardly anyone was interested in Van Gogh's work while he was alive. He sold only a few drawings and maybe one or two paintings. People in the 1880s and 1890s just weren't used to the bright, moving pictures that Van Gogh made. Today, things are different. People have learned how beautiful Vincent van Gogh's art is. Now his paintings are some of the most popular in the world. This may have been Van Gogh's last painting. Some people think it shows how angry and upset he must have been feeling because he painted a scary sky, roads that led to a dark background, and crows that looked like bats. Soon after this painting was finished, Van Gogh shot himself. He died 2 days later. Van Gogh made his paintings seem alive with color. His colors are so bright and beautiful you can almost smell the flowers he painted or feel the bright sun. His brushstrokes give everything a feeling of movement. Trees, stars, and people feel alive. Maybe more than any other artist, Van Gogh's feelings came out in his paintings. That's why Vincent van Gogh is one of the world's greatest artists. It's much better to see a real Vincent van Gogh painting than a picture of one. It's fun to see how thick he put his paint on, his brush strokes, and how bright his colors are. The pictures in the book come from the museums listed below. If none of them is close to you, maybe you can visit one when you're on vacation. So some of those museums are in Connecticut, Amsterdam, the Netherlands, Washington, D.C., which isn't that far from us, New York, London, and Chicago. So that was Vincent van Gogh. I hope you learned a little bit about him and enjoyed his paintings. Okay, and I'll see you hopefully in another video. Bye.